Hello. So in this video, I will show you how to host a dedicated server for a Webgl build using Mirror. So first thing first, in this video, what I will be doing is I will be hosting the server on AWS, the dedicated server on AWS, and the client will be running locally. So when you release your game, most probably your client will also be hosted on some domain, and that domain will be communicating to the server using some secured protocol, most probably WSS. So, and it will use SSL certificates. So this isn't the case. We will be disabling WSS for this tutorial. What we will be doing, our client will be running locally and the server will be hosted on AWS. We will be sending requests to the server and then getting the response back. So for to start, you should have the Mirror package installed. You can get it from the asset store. Now, once the package is installed, you will see a Mirror folder here. So we will be using an example provided by Mirror itself. In this example, you can go to Pong and scenes and then mirror Pong. So it's a pretty simple scene: network manager, table, rackets one left, rackets one right. um, so for a WebGL build, what we will be doing, we will be adding simple web transport. This won't be there for you by default. I have added this. You can just simply go here and type simple web transport. There it is, and then type enter. I have already put it in there. We have to disable KCP transport. This isn't for WebGL build. This is for standalone. So we will be removing this. Fine. So to do anything related to Mirror in general, their documentation is really good, really well documented. Go through it. If you have any doubt, you can ask in comments. But this documentation is really good. So what we are looking for is WebSocket transport, because WebGL don't work with normal transport. It require WebSocket which runs on TCP. Generally, UDP is faster, but for WebGL, TCP is a must, uh, since it's based on WebSockets. So this documentation talks about SSL and then setting up a reverse proxy, but that all is not required since our client will be Google currently. So now for the configurations. First of all, you will have to change this transport. It will be set to KCP. You will just have to drag this and drop it here. Other than that, network address won't matter now. For the at least for the server build. When we are doing the client build, we will set this up. Uh, Other than that, you will have to set in the simple web transport, you will have to set the server port. On this port, the server will be hosted. So this is given in the documentation. So this port is fine. Other than that, SSL enabled shouldn't be checked, and client use WSS also shouldn't be checked. Then you save the scene and go to File, Build Setting, and then in dedicated server, you will probably have to download modules if dedicated server modules are not downloaded. Download that, and afterward do switch platform. Windows is fine. You can also do a Linux build, but currently we are doing Windows. Once the build is done, you can build, select your directory. I'm doing in server build and select folder. This might take some time. So as you can see, this build is done. We can just double click the executable and the build will be launched allow since it need to access this port. um, Now our game is live on this port, and along with that the IP would be the localhost since it's running on our local system. So if we play this scene, oh wait, first we need to switch it to Webgl build. Yes, so here we have the client build running, and if I run this here, and we can do local host and then 277 client, and here also local host. And now you can see both are playing together, and the changes in this scene will be reflected there also. Fine. So now we have a client build and a server build running separately on our local system. Now what we will do, we will shift this to AWS, our host build, not the client. Yeah, so now we are at our AWS homepage. Uh, you will have to create a free account to test this. You can do it using debit card or credit card. Both works. I was initially thinking it only worked with credit card, but it works with debit card. So what you will do, most probably write EC2 here and virtual server in the cloud, and you will click on this, and then you will launch the server. But before that, let me show you the documentation. This is really well documented in the docs, so if you want to follow that, you can go to AWS, and it has also given the links to its limitation of the free tier. um, After that, everything is really well documented. You can directly do this from here, or I will show it to you. So you will do launch instance, then give it a YouTube test. Instance will be window for us. Since in the documentation they are using web server 19, I will be choosing that, but you can also use 2022. It most probably should be compatible with everything, but just in case I'm also using this one. uh, then this is by default, this is fine. As for key pairs, you will have to generate a new one if you don't already have one. I will create this one. What you will have to do, name it, and then click on create key pair, nothing else. It will give you a PEM file that would be very important. Just keep it somewhere safe and don't share it to anyone. That PEM file would be required in future to generate a password, so keep that somewhere safe. So as for networking settings, you will have to create a security group. After you click on edit, you will have to add new rules here. These are inbound rules. Inbound rules means whatever request is coming to your server, it will expose those ports so that the server can listen to these requests on specific ports, and you can also mention the IP, but for now we will be doing it from anywhere. So as mentioned in the docs, so what you will be doing, you will be mentioning all these three rules. After you have defined these inbound rules, uh, storage configuration is fine, no need to change anything in advanced detail, then you can launch the instance. Yeah, so this almost took an eternity to start. Generally this happens in 3 to 5 minutes. Anyways, so we will go to this instance, that EC2 instance that we just created, and go to connect. And in RDP client, you will use connect using RDP. And before downloading this, or even after, is fine. So first what will you do is get password. So to get this password, you will have to upload the PEM file that we got earlier, that we generated earlier. So mine is in downloads, and I will give the PEM file and then go to decrypt password, and you will copy this password, and you will require this to log into your EC2 instance locally. Next, you will download this remote desktop file. So what RDP does is it allows you to access the computer running on the server locally. We will just see that in a moment. So before opening that, open this in file location and go to its edit settings. So show more properties and then edit, and you will see something like this. Go to local resource, and here click on more, and in this select driver, press on OK. In journal, click on save. So what this will do is you will be able to see your C drive inside the instance. Basically, you have mounted that C drive, your C drive in the instance, and you will be able to access all the files within that EC2 instance that's running on the server. Okay, so we will do connect. Here it will ask for the password that you just generated, that's here, and you click on OK, click on yes, and then it will open a instance like this. So now you go to File Explorer, and in File Explorer in this PC you will be able to see on Avisima, that's my name, so that's my PC's name also. Kind of weird, but fine. So in users and in desktop, so we will go to the file location of our server build. So just zip this build before transferring it. It will be way faster this way, otherwise it will take a lot of time to transfer it to the EC2 container. So yeah, once this transfer is done, we will unzip this, and finally before running the server we will need to manage our firewall permissions. We want to allow this EC2 instance to not block any incoming request to port 2777. So we will go to the settings. So in the firewall settings you will go to inbound rules and then new rule, and here for port, since we are dealing with TCP, go to port, then next, and then here specify the port 27777. Next, rest is default. Next, name is which we you test, and then finish. Okay, so now our EC2 instance can listen on port 27777, and it won't be logged by the firewall. Now our setup is done. What we can do is go to our server build and start the server here, and here you can see it's saying that it's listening to this port. So to connect to this server that's running on the EC2 instance, what we will do is, so to connect to this instance we already have the port, and we will require an IP address. So that's the IP address of our instance, public IPv4 address. So we will copy this and So now to connect to the hosted server, you will need to put the public IPv4 address here, and everything should start working. But one thing before that, you can disable these since the table and the spawn transform are used by the server and it's already present in the server. So there is no need to there is no need for them to be on the client side too. And this is it. Now you can build the project and run it. Yes, so build is done. Just let's spin up an instance in the Unity editor itself, and boom. Both of the instances are now connected to AWS, and it's working fine. There might be a bit of lag since it's hosted, and hosting includes lag. That's free. Uh, so yeah, that's all. I did this myself, reading the docs. So if there is any problem, then do let me know. I will pin the comment, and if there is any major problem, then I will take down the video and re-upload it. Since I don't have much about idea about networking, and I recently did this myself, so if there is any problem, just do let me know. And if you are facing some problem, I will be glad to help out in the comments. Okay, bye bye.